is an enormous honor and pleasure to welcome Sri Ravi Shankar to be with us today. Sri reaches millions through his Art of Living courses around the world and through his humanitarian work and his missions for peace to Pakistan and to Iraq and to other places. Sri's message is not rooted in any one religion, but is relevant to those of no religion and to all religions.
Spiritual or political identity is not changed by practicing yoga. And I would like to welcome you, Your Holiness, on behalf of EPP, my political group. We all share the same objective with you, to work for less violence and less stress in this world. And I would say there is no need for electronic vote. I think we all agree with you, and we wish you lots of success here and everywhere.
Friends, it's a special pleasure to welcome one of the most inspiring spiritual leaders in the world. And Sri Ravi Shankar, welcome home to the European Parliament. I had the chance to follow your engagement since more than 10 years and have seen what tremendous success you have on all the hotspots in the world, whether it's Palestine, whether it's Iraq, Syria, your own country, elsewhere. And if I would have to decide, I must say you would be a candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize. That would be something you deserve.
Guruji, thank you very much for being here. For me, it's a matter of great privilege, joy, and honor to see that something which has emanated from my culture, from our civilization, yoga, is now reverberating all over the world and finds echo in the hallowed precincts of the world's largest legislature, the European Union. For that, to all of you, honorable members of the European Parliament, we say a very big thank you.
It's a great honor and pleasure to invite you to address us, Sriji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman of the House, and the dignitaries on the dais, my friends, His Excellencies, and members of this great European Parliament. If there is a competition for God today in the world, I would say that is stress. Stress has become almost synonymous to God. It's so omnipresent. Everywhere you can find stress. Now, what really stress is? Too much to do, too little time, and no energy. Right? You agree with me? We have a lot to do, and we don't have much time. In a short time, we have to do a lot, but there is not energy. And this causes stress. Now, how to get rid of it? Either reduce the workload, which doesn't appear to be a possibility these days, increase the time, which we cannot do anyway. It's fixed, unless we go to another planet somewhere. The only option we are left with is to increase the energy level within us. So when we have enough energy and enthusiasm, we are able to face any challenges and handle any challenges. This is one aspect of yoga way, is to provide us tools and techniques to live a stress-free life, tension-free life. On the other hand, yoga is also the greatest wealth of humankind, I would say. Because what is wealth? Wealth is that brings us comfort. The purpose of wealth is to bring happiness and comfort, isn't it? If wealth doesn't succeed in achieving this goal of bringing comfort to human psyche, human life, I wouldn't call it wealth. And yoga is wealth in that sense. It brings absolute comfort. A violence-free society disease-free body, confusion-free mind, inhibition-free intellect, trauma-free memory, and a sorrow-free soul is the birthright of every individual. And the parliaments world over are striving to achieve this goal of human existence, that's happiness. Isn't it? We all want happiness for our people. And yoga is the way for that much needed happiness factor in life. Here again, yoga, we think it's some sort of exercise. In the 80s and 90s, when I would tour Europe, yoga is not a subject or thing of mainstream society or someone who is not the mainstream, who is somewhere out there, would practice yoga. Yoga was considered to be some exercise, very hard exercise, standing on the nails or in one leg. The whole concept of yoga was very weird. It was a stuff of a weird people. I'm glad today there is awakening. People have recognized the importance of yoga. World over, yoga has become synonymous with relaxation, happiness, or a creative mind. Even big companies in advertisement, they put people sitting in a yoga position in meditation pose to depict the inner peace one has. That's a very welcome move. But one thing I would like to remind you, whether we like it or not, we are all born yogis. You don't need a yoga teacher if you observe a baby anywhere in the world from the age of 3 months to the age of 3 years. The baby does all the yoga postures, the breathing, the way they sleep, the way they smile, everything is yoga. Right? Baby is a yoga teacher. And see, a baby is a yogi. And that's how baby is stress-free. There is happiness, you know. A baby smiles 400 times a day. And purpose of yoga is to put a smile on you. In spite of all the stress and tension or situations that we are put in our day-to-day life. Now, the benefits of yoga are multifold. There are many, many benefits. Number one, health benefits. Second is it changes the behavior of a person because behavior depends on the stress level in a person. It creates a friendly disposition and a very pleasant atmosphere on people. You know, in fact, we convey a lot through our presence, our vibes. And yoga helps to improve our vibes. You see what I'm saying? You see, we convey more than words, we convey through our presence, our vibrations. I would like to give you an example. See, you can notice this clear difference when someone close to you tells you, have a nice day, and the air hostess greeting you, have a nice day. When you get off the plane, air hostess greet you, have a nice day. They really don't mean it. But the same words, when it comes to you, from a kid or a kin or a very close friend, it carries certain vibes. So, speaking in terms of quantum physics, we're all emitting vibes, our wavelengths. We often say our wavelengths don't match. You know, when communication breaks down, this is what we are used to saying. Our wavelengths don't match. Because our ability to communicate depends on our ability to receive communication from others. Here, yoga helps us to have that clear mind. Another issue that we face in society today is prejudice. All type of prejudice. Prejudice with religion, race, gender, class, and educational status, financial status. All these different type of prejudice has clogged the mind of men, and that's how conflicts arise in society, what we see all around us. And yoga helps us to reach out and resolve this conflict created by prejudice. So it spontaneously and naturally makes our mind free from prejudice. I'd like to quote as a simple or an incident that happened a few years ago in Ivory Coast. There was polarization between two villages with people of two different religions, chased out the other religion from their town. Just one of our volunteers going to them, talking to them, taught them a little like relaxation, meditation, and brought the people from both villages together to shake hands. And you'd see, you have also seen some of their experiences, how they could break that barrier or the prejudice in the mind and shake hands with people who are different than us. And I think this is very much needed in the world today. Then, coming to the other aspect of developing skills within oneself. The propounder of yoga has said, yoga karmasu kaushlam. In Gita, Sri Lord Krishna had said, yoga is skill in action. Yoga is not just an exercise. It is how skillfully you can communicate and how skillfully you can act in any given situation. This is again is yoga. And I don't think anyone here would say we don't want skills. Anyone here would say we don't want innovation. Innovation, intuition, skills, and better communication. All these are side effects of yoga. I won't even say the main effects, they're side effects of yoga. These things come to us naturally. Having said that, does yoga conflict with any of our belief system? I believe in a particular religion or particular philosophy, or I follow a particular political thought line. Does it conflict? I would say not at all. Because yoga always promotes harmony in diversity. It encourages diversity. The word yoga itself means uniting all diverse aspects of existence, of life. Now, whether someone is a businessman or a public figure or private individual, you want peace, you want to smile, you want to be happy. And this happiness can only happen when we look into the root cause of it, of unhappiness. And unhappiness is because lack of vision, stress, tension. So again, European Union have been talking quite a bit about also GDH. I suppose from GDP we are moving towards GDH, gross domestic happiness. And here is something that can aid that. Aid can be a very, very useful tool. A large percentage of this of our population today is suffering from depression. And just popping a Prozac and other antidepressant is not going to help in the long run. We need something that's so natural as our breath, that we can use and elevate our spirit and feel that much needed happiness, the pursuit of happiness with everybody is after. When we are happy, what is our experience? What is our feeling? I just want to ask you a question. When you're happy, what is that you feel? Have you noticed a sense of expansion within you? Suppose you're complimented, or you accomplished something you wanted to accomplish. You find there is something in you expanding. At the same time, when we face a failure or when someone insults us, what happens in us? There is something in us that shrinks. So, yoga is putting our attention to this something in us that seems to be expanding when we are happy and crushing or contracting when we feel unhappy. Often we feel helpless about our negative emotions, because neither in school nor at home anyone teaches us how to handle our negative emotion, right? If you are upset, you remain upset to wait for time to heal you. Yoga has the secret to turn this state of mind. It makes you so independent, empowers you to feel the way you want to feel at any time, instead of being a victim of your own feelings. In our experience in teaching in prisons around the world with 500,000 people, this is what we have found. Every culprit says he is a victim of something around. See, when we heal the victim in him, the culprit disappears. And breath, as simple as breath, can do this job for us. We just need to learn how to breathe in different rhythms, in different patterns, and eliminate those traumas, those strong impressions in the mind, or the pain, suffering we have been carrying in our heart. Again, the propounder of yoga, Patanjali, said, he enunciated the purpose of yoga. He said, Heyam dukkha managatam. The purpose of yoga is to stop the misery before it comes. So, on many counts, this is very useful. When a conflict is boiling somewhere, ask people to breathe and sit together and communicate better. You can see you can resolve the conflict right at the very root cause of it. Whether it's greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, or frustration, all these negative emotions can be healed or reoriented through yoga, and this is my experience throughout the world. Having said this, I would also say one more thing. Yoga also helps someone to be more responsible, to take more responsibility in life. This is called karma yogi. Karma yogi is one who takes responsibility. We all play many roles in our life. We have an option to play the role either as a yogi or as a non-yogi, or one who is responsible and one who is not so responsible. You can have a responsible teacher, a teacher, a doctor with responsibility, a businessman who cares, who has responsibility. That caring and sharing and responsibility are the characters that yoga simply nurtures inside of us. We all have this inside us. The entire population has, but it needs nurturing. And yoga is the one, I would say, is one of the best tools to nurture an individual to take responsibility.
Guruji, namaskar. I have a very simple question for you. Is it possible to synchronize the left and right sides of the brain? And is it possible to train oneself to balance the logic and music?
Definitely, that's why we have two nostrils. Nature has provided two nostrils, when you alternate your breathing, and the breathing corresponds to left and right hemisphere of the brain as well. Definitely it's possible.
Do you think the people in this room would make other decisions if they had a yoga class every morning?
Well, maybe we made the right decision.
I think that's a first right decision.
Guruji, how many hours of meditation a day do you need to really achieve tangible results?
I would say about half an hour would do. Half an hour to 40 minutes morning, including exercises, breathing technique and meditation, should do.
The gentleman towards the rear there. Yes?
Yeah?
That child is the best yoga teacher, and we all understand when the child is between 3 months and 3 years. He is not conditioned by any society, system, economic or political system, because he is natural. So how we can eliminate? We see in the world we have a lot of misery because of different religious, organized belief system, political system, and national interest. How we can eliminate to make all our adults like child? So we get rid of all the conditioning in the conditioning what we live in this in the world.
When we go to the root cause of conflicts, you will find it is stress and mistrust and fear among the people, fear of the other. In yoga, you can get over all the three. The fear of the other vanishes because you have broadened awareness, broadened consciousness. You feel everyone is part of you and you are part of them, right? The fear to lose one's identity, or fear of losing being extinct, is something that's very deep rooted. And yoga is, I feel, is the best thing to remove these fears in the mind of people.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Radvul, an economist, a current trainee at the Commission. I wanted to ask you, I used to do some yoga, so I have some basic knowledge of it. And my yoga teacher always told us that the things that happen to you always reflect your inner state or condition. So my question would be, can you transmit the same logic or the philosophy to the level of a group, meaning that the countries are the things that are happening to certain countries or something like that would reflect what's inside of them or similar? Thank you.
Yes, we reflect what is the society, and society reflects what we are. In a broader sense, yes. But you see, a society, a group of people, and when the tension is building up, that group that group fear begins there. And mob psychology is very much compared to an individual reflection of what people are feeling. I'm sure that that could be addressed through right education. Yeah.
Gentlemen.
Excellency, I have never done yoga in my life. And that's why I've just a very simple question. What is yoga? Is it meditation? Is it a movement of the different postures of the body? And if they are so, what is the scientific linkages between those things and what happens inside, which leads to such a dynamic effect in the form of resolution of conflict and giving us peace of mind?
Okay. First, I would like to refute your first statement. You have never done yoga in your whole life. You have done as a baby, but you don't know it. Because not a single child on this planet has come up without doing yoga. As soon as we are born, when we sleep, as a babies, if you see, we put this mudra. It's called chin mudra, sleeping. In any part of the world, you see how when babies are lying down, they lift their legs first. And then they go on their belly and try to lift the shoulders. So they do the bow pose, and then they try to hold the toe. So asanas, to some extent, every child has done on this planet. And then coming to the breathing pattern, the way we breathe is much different from the way baby breathes. And baby has a stress-free mind, a happy mind. So all the signs of yoga are already there in a baby. So we have all been yogi. We are just going back to our roots. And now yoga is eightfold yoga. 8 steps to it. In one among that is exercise also, certain postures, physical postures. But mainly maintaining the equanimity in the mind, in the center core. Samatvam yoga uchite. Yoga is equilibrium in mind. What you can do with mindfulness, any action that you can do, you're performing, at the same time you are aware of it, what you are doing, what you're saying, makes you a yogi.
And what is the scientific basis? What happens actually?
See, science is a systematic, logical understanding of what is. In the sense, yoga is a science that it is a systematic understanding of the subject. Knowing what this is science. Knowing who am I is spirituality. But both are science.
Hello. Do you think that the whole commercialization of yoga is lowering its purpose, its original purpose, and its spirituality?
Commercialization is to do with people, not to do with yoga. Wherever there are people and there are arrangements need to be done, and so commerce becomes a part of it. Do you see what I'm saying? But if yoga is denied to people because they don't have money, I would say that is wrong.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. That unfortunately nowadays there are a lot of schools around the world that they're overpriced. They have subscription for yoga that they're overpriced, and it's something that's, I think it's a little bit off from the whole
correct
mentality.
Yoga could have been better taken as a mission, not as profession. Some people take to yoga as a mission to bring happiness to people. Some other take it as a profession. When they've taken it as a profession, it already has a commercial aspect to it. And people take it as a profession because it is a need of the hour.
Sriji, you've been teaching for many years. May I ask you, over all those years, have you changed your mind on any aspect of your teaching? Do you think now you're a very different person to when you started?
I would say, if you ask me, this is a part of me, it's the same throughout. I've not changed. And if you ask me on the other count, have your activities expanded? I would say yes. There are many challenges. Now I'm ready to take many more challenges. In that sense, yes. So the answer to this question would be yes and no.
It's the lady in the white.
Hi, I have a question. Which sutras of Patanjali you consider the most important in your practice?
The very first sutra of Patanjali, that says, Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, tada drishtu swarupe avastha. Establishing in the seer is yoga. Getting back from the scenery to the seer.
Charles?
Thank you, and I have to confess I've never practiced yoga except when you came before and I did a bit of meditation, but I've always been impressed by the relaxed state and spirituality of gurus generally and yogis that I've met over the years. But I'd just like to be devil's advocate, speaking as a Christian, as a Catholic. What do you say to those, particularly leaders of monotheistic religions, senior clerics in my own religion, in my own faith, the Catholics, that say that yoga has its origins in Hinduism and pantheism, and therefore, and also focused entirely on the physical aspects of the body, can undermine Christian prayer, and therefore, for Christians, it's not necessarily the right approach to spirituality. But just as devil's advocate, how would you answer that from, say, you're a devout Christian, whether that's compatible with the practice of yoga?
Yeah. I would say by eating Chinese food, we don't turn to become Chinese. And by when we can accept food from every part of the world, we accept music from any part of the world. Listening to Beethoven doesn't turn you into a German. In the same way, when we can accept food from every part of the world, music from every part of the world, technology from every part of the world, why to single out wisdom or technology that can bring you inner peace without interfering your own faith or belief system? This is my question. Because, see, telephone is universal. And there are certain laws. Yeah, no doubt yoga has its root in Hinduism. Actually, Hinduism itself is a way of life. In Patanjali never talks about so many gods or pantheism, nothing. Patanjali simply says there are body, mind, breath, this life force, attend to this. So I would say we should welcome wisdom irrespective of what its source are, as long as it doesn't conflict with our traditions.
Thank you enormously, Sri Sri. And thank you all for joining us today for this great event.